Today we're going to pull the diff out of my 350Z and get it welded. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to be doing a lot of mods to this Z that I just picked up. Just make it into a budget drift car, something that's street legal but I can still take to the track and beat on it, and you know, just do real minimum easy stuff. That way it's simple and reliable, knock on wood. So today we're going to pull the diff and then I'm going to get it welded. Now I know I can get like a two-way Cos or Cusco two-way LSD, but that's like a lot of money. This thing being a budget car, I want to really just put money where I absolutely need to do it, and stuff that I can, you know, get by. I mean, a welded diff is like 50 bucks. You just go drop it off, get it welded, and boom, slap it back in, and it's 100% lock and it runs good. In my LS 240, that thing made like almost 500 horsepower and stock rear end, stock axles, stock diff. I just had it welded and that thing never had an issue. Drove on it for like 4 years with an SR, and then the last 2 or 3 years on a fully built LS. So I mean, as long as the welds are good, the diff should be fine. And this thing making stock power, running a welded shouldn't be too big of an issue. And a lot of people ask me, well, isn't dailying a welded like terrible? I don't know what you define as terrible, but I dailied my 240 through high school and college with a welded diff. And that's through snowstorms, driving through blizzards. I've never had an issue. Aside from the occasional chirping when you turn corners, it's not too bad. And you have 100% lock. It's not like I'm competing with this car and need it to be, you know, super competitive with a nice expensive diff. A welded is predictable. It's always locked. When you're sliding, you have full lock. And for 50 bucks, kind of hard to beat. So let's pull this diff out and go get it welded. Okay, so step one is we gotta jack up the rear end of the car. And ironically enough, we should be able to jack it up by the diff, the part that we're gonna pull out. And then stick jack stands on both sides and then remove the diff. Let's see if we can, oh yeah, that should work. Just enough clearance. Make sure you're not jacking it up by the rear of the cover and the actual like diff itself. Alright, we got our jack stands in. Let's take the jack out. I wonder if we can get away with not removing the exhaust. It's kind of in the way, but here's the diff. So we'll have to disconnect the drive shaft from here. There'll be 4 bolts. Drop these 2 to the subframe and in there. And disconnect all these from the axles and go to the wheels. And actually, let's test if I have an open diff or not. So how you test this is you take it out of gear and off the e-brake. Now the wheels should spin freely, and we'll see. Let's spin this one backwards. See if I can capture both sides. You can see that as I'm spinning this wheel, the other one is stationary, indicating an open diff. Had I had a diff that locks of some sort, spinning this either way, forwards or backwards, that other wheel should spin with it if it had some sort of diff. But because it's open, the power just will be transferred to the one wheel on the right in most cases, and this one will just be like spinning freely. But that's one way you check if you have an open diff or not. So confirmed open diff, so we can pull this out and go get it welded. So now we'll take the axles out. So all it is a 14, and you just bust it out like that and repeat. As you go around, you're gonna have to undo the handbrake or take it out of gear and spin it, but then you want to put it back into gear so this doesn't spin. Driver side, same thing. And I'm gonna try to do this without dropping the exhaust. So same thing. 14 mil. Remove it from this side, and I think I can get away with it just reaching around the exhaust here. If you have a stock exhaust, you might have to remove this portion to get to it, depending if you have the room. Now once you get all the axle bolts out, the axle will just drop like this, and then you got to remove the diff from the drive shaft. And that's just 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. And after we pull those, we'll pull these 2 big ones that hold the diff to the subframe. Okay, so after much struggling, we had the 10 millimeters, 17s come out from under these 2 sides. As you can see, the 6, 14 millimeters, 14s. Also the ABS, I think, sensor is just a 12 and a 12. And then there's also a 17 right here that goes to the subframe. We had to drop the sway bar in order to get it, just to move it out of the way. Here's the axles. Out of the way. Axle out of the way. Drive shaft hanging there. And then there's the 2 ABS sensors. So that's that. Finally got it out. Just use a jack right here, and then you just prop it up under this point right here. You'll put this right at the low point of the diff, and then you kind of just guide it down and make your way around the exhaust and sway bar. Now we'll take this thing and go get it welded.